Okay, welcome to Fahrenheit Performance Podcast, episode number 22. Today we have Super Age Group Arjun Kandikuppa, right?
Correct.
The reason I got you on because you've got quite a journey from being a complete newbie to the sport to be a very consistent podium place finisher, and I think that is exactly the journey that most of us want to take, right? So we're going to talk about where you've been, what you've done, and how you got to where you are today, right? So Arjun, why don't you just introduce yourself a little bit?
Sure. Thanks, Martin, for having me on the podcast. So I've been based in Singapore for the past 10 years, and you've been absolutely right. I started my triathlon journey back here in 2016. And I think you've been one of the key foundation elements as well to the journey.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I started quite early on in the sport in 2016, which is sprint triathlons. And in the past 7-8 years, I've been on the sport now. I've progressed from starting events, finishing dead last, all the way till...
Really?
I will talk about that for sure. But yeah, okay. To moving up the age groups and the ranks.
Yep.
I mean, there have been many successes, but I think there have been countless hours of sweat as well as sacrifices gone into getting here. And all of this is honestly fueled by a passion for the sport, which just does not seem to end anytime soon, at least from my viewpoint. And yeah, just living and enjoying it on a daily basis.
Yeah, awesome, man. So you've had 14 podiums so far, right? And your PB for half marathon distance is 4:35.
That's correct.
So 4:35 for anyone that doesn't know half Ironman is a very fast time. I think a good half Ironman is under 6 hours. Under 5 hours is you're already thinking of qualifying for world champs. So 4:35 is even faster than that. And you're basically going to have to run at least a 1:30 half marathon to get that time, right? There's no other way to do that, right?
Yeah, 1:35. Yeah, considering swim and bike is good.
Well, then maybe that's why you're 4:35 and 1:35. Yeah. So I think I met you 2016 or so when you were still with Metasport. How did you, what were you doing before triathlon, and why did you decide that, okay, training every single day for triathlon, which everyone has to do, is the thing for you?
Yeah. I think before that it was just like a 9-to-5 corporate rut of life that was going on, right? And I mean, I was of course always into some sort of physical fitness activities. I think moving to Singapore, I discovered a new sport for running. And that's around the same time that I figured out that, this is not totally exciting.
Yeah.
And that's when, luckily Singapore was just getting started and a lot of multi-sport distance with the Singapore triathlon and all. And it just happened to be on East Coast Park one day, and I thought, oh, this was fun, swimming.
So you stumbled upon a triathlon while you were running in East Coast Park?
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
East Coast Park, and I thought this looks fun. And then I went back home immediately and signed up for the next one, which was happening, which was my trifecta the same year.
Okay.
And I think the whole...
Could you swim? Are you, do you have background in swimming or anything like that?
When I started triathlon, I was just able to swim probably 50 meters without stopping, that's all.
Nice.
But the whole, the pool was quite good. I could see a lot of people who were fit, and you could see them going, and this was something that would excite me.
Yeah, it's like a pathway. You can see the progression of different people, and you can only get better from there, right?
It just seemed like quite a good sport to get into, and it didn't have only running. So I'm like, okay, fine, there's lots more to do. But I think the driving force behind that was to have something out of work, after work, to really focus and enjoy. And then that's when this passion just kept on building from there. Yeah,
because if you're a 9-to-5 job, and then you get to the grind, every day ends up being the same. Sometimes you need a little bit of motivation to do for a life outside of the work, right? So then, what is dead last? Was that for your first event? You didn't know what the heck you're doing.
I picked up a bike which was, I think, 1 or 2 sizes smaller than me.
Okay, because you're very tall. How tall are you?
I'm 188.
Okay.
The bike I picked up was medium or something. And the reason I picked up was it didn't have an L, and that was online. It was just like a $300 road bike. As bad as it can get.
Nice.
I just went to the event. I bought a twice. We went to the event, did the swim. Felt good. Started the cycling, and then people were just going by. And I started the run, I walked half the run, I didn't know what was happening, and came in, and I remember in the age group, I was like, there were almost 140 people, and I was almost like 135 or something.
Because,
I didn't know what happened at all, but...
Even seasoned runners, they think, okay, I can run 10K in an hour, right? But 10K after swimming and biking is so different from 10K when you wake up and just do a 10K, right?
Exactly. It was quite different. I mean, I had a newfound sense of like, okay, fine, now this becomes like a goal, right? Let's figure out what this sport is about.
Yeah.
And I think the same day I actually told my wife that, this was something interesting, and she's like, you barely even get it.
Yeah, you almost die. You want to do it again?
I'm like, yeah, I said I want to, and then that's when my journey started of finding out about actually who can train me on this sport, and then I stumbled across Metasport.
Yep. Okay, and then also obviously you're Indian, right? And the first thing that people don't think of when they think of Indian people, this probably very stereotypical, is endurance sports, maybe cricket and squash and team sports, hockey. How does that affect your training? Like when you're back home in India, do you find other people that are in the sport as well? Is there a big community over there now?
Yeah, so I think back in the day when I started in 2017, I mean, triathlon was not a mainstream sport in India. People were just getting excited about running.
Well, they have 70.3 Goa now, right?
Yeah, they have 70.3 Goa. So I think in 2019, all of that changed with Ironman Goa coming in, and now triathlon is becoming like a stepping sport where people do running and then they come on to the next gen of endurance sport. Right? But I think, I mean, as an Indian starting out in Singapore in this sporting background was slightly difficult because initially I had to like really, request people to be, let me be a part of the cycling groups as well. So that was not easy because I had to figure my way out of the sport. I mean, if I had, more local support and friends early on in the journey, it would have been much easier to ramp up. And that's why, I truly credit the start of the journey a lot to Metasport. Yeah. Because in 2017-18, the amount of work the coaches put in with newbies like me, and there were several others who were in the same bracket who were doing quite good as well. I think that really helped me and shed inhibitions. Yeah. Because coming into the swim squad, I used to be like, oh man, I don't know swimming. Yeah. And everyone was so understanding and helpful.
And if you're trying to figure it out yourself, it's so demoralizing, right? As long as if you have a squad to train with and you see the same people day in and out, you can see their progression, you can see your progression. It doesn't matter who you are.
I mean, then it doesn't matter who, and then the nationality didn't matter. But now I go back to India. I think now it's a mainstream sport enough that people do understand what it is about. I would still would not say that it's quite popular in the tier 2 cities, but you get facilities enough to train now. It's much better.
Okay. So, what do you credit to getting most for your progression? Is it just a consistency of training, or is there something that helped you more than anything else?
Yeah, so I think first things first, I have to call out is I think there has to be a hunger to really learn the sport, right? Yeah. I mean, I was very hungry to learn about the sport and not just
So a real student of the sport, right?
Yeah.
So so it's not just about running hard, swimming hard, and biking hard. You need to know about transitions. Exactly. You need to know about strategies and aerodynamics and pockets and nutrition and.
Yeah, even in each discipline, I try to figure out why I'm doing a certain kind of thing. If I'm cycling, what's cadence got to do with power, learn more about heart rate. So I studied a lot on my own. Yeah. But then the consistency element came in when I was supposed to follow plans. So day in and day out, I was able to put in that work. But at the back of my mind, I always try to reason out why I'm doing a specific set. Yeah. What's the science behind it. Yeah. So there's a lot of time that went into studying as well as doing courses.
So why am I doing an interval when it's actually an endurance sport?
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. So that helped me a lot because I don't put in crazy hours, but I know what I'm doing, why, so that I get the results I need.
Okay. So complete newbie 2016. How long did you take to start seeing results? From dead last to maybe top 10% or top 10?
So I think top 10% happened just before COVID. I was hitting top 10. In 3 years I was enough, so able to get into top 10%, but then there was a lull period with COVID. And then I think even I had stagnated as a training approach, but I think the real influx of results again started from 21. Because that's the time I was really able to find out a coaching philosophy that really focused on my strengths. Yeah. And since 21 I have been consistently even able to at least, top 5 is given in any age group wherever I go. But I always try to push the limits in terms of getting to the podium.
Because top 5 is very difficult, especially which age group are you?
Right now I'm in 35, 39. That's
okay. Super tough. So I think 35 to 39, 40 to 44, maybe 30 to 35, 30 to 34. They're the three toughest age groups. And if you get one guy, let's use Colin O'Shea for an example, right? He's a very good triathlete. If you're the same age as him, it's so difficult, right? So maybe you're that guy that everyone else is like. is hating on because you progress. It's not like you're in the A race, there in the B race, the newbies are in the C race. You're in that age group, and you'll always be in that age group, right?
Exactly. Yeah. That's a challenge for sure. But yeah, I mean, like most of the folks I know, I also play to my strengths as well, which I'll talk about later. I mean, I know going into race, I have to study the field and understand where I can actually go hard in the ring.
Oh, okay. So you study the course.
Study the course as well as the field of the age groupers who are coming in for the race. But because by now I know most of the folks by name, so I know who's going to.
Yeah. So someone's going to particularly hit the bike hard.
Exactly.
Like if the Sam Long of your age group, for example, you know he's a terrible swimmer. He's going to bike hard, right? So then you can sort of work around that. Okay, stick on him with a bike, right? So you think 3 years of consistent training, you started to see results. Were you one of those people during COVID to stay in the basement and just train like crazy and come out of COVID as like a super strong guy?
Exactly.
You did?
I did, because before COVID, my biking was very average, honestly. It was just my swim and probably my run was okay, but I came out of COVID like I was like a different cyclist altogether.
Yeah. I think there's two types of people. The ones that trained like crazy during COVID, and then the ones that just didn't train. I'm the one that didn't train during COVID. And then everyone came out of COVID like either super duper ready to go or super undertrained, right?
That was the second one. I think I put in massive hours for cycling.
Yeah.
That was, and it came out, I mean, the difference was just massive. The FTP went up. The times dropped as soon as I went to my first race. I mean, it basically transformed my journey into a front back athlete after that.
Oh, cool. Okay, and then what sort of training load do you do? Like, let's go through a typical training week. Probably doing something every single day, I'm assuming.
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, like every single day I've got a session planned. I mean, if it's a normal cycle where we're just maintaining, it's at least like 3 swim sessions, 3 bikes and 3 runs a week. But I generally keep most of the heavy stuff towards the weekend. Because I've got a full-time job as well.
Yeah.
So I keep the faster stuff as well as the interval session and the focus stuff during the weekdays.
Okay.
So I know like where my weaknesses are. So I generally tend to focus much more on the run specifically, especially the weekend endurance session. I try to focus much more over there.
So if you have 9 sessions, you got 7 days. You got to do some days double sessions, right?
It's like morning before office and then night after the kids.
So you work a full-time job. We're talking, right? So how many hours a week do you train?
I try to at least get to like 14 hours of training a week.
Okay.
But I mean, good weeks I can go up to like 17 as well.
Yeah.
But at least like 12 to 14 is my minimum, including my strength work.
I think that most of the people up in the high levels, about 15 is sort of the sweet spot. Once you're pushing past 20, you're doing like something. It feels like a lot, and then if you're under 10, you're not going to get the results, right? So typically you will be doing like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, swim, Tuesday, Thursdays.
Exactly. Yeah. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday are for my swims. Tuesday, Thursdays, I try to keep like cycling and running. And then Saturday, Sundays again is like a big mix of
Long ride,
cycling,
long run or something.
Long run, and then probably recovery swims.
So do you used to be with Metasport, you're not with Metasport anymore. Do you have a coach that you work with, or like one-on-one?
Yeah, so currently I'm working with Goa Sports.
Okay, the one out of Australia.
Yeah, the one of Australia. So they've got Clayton Fettel, who's himself an ex-professional. So currently I'm coaching with him for the past 2 years.
They showed up big at Langkawi last year, right? Is that their day off? Their big excursion for the year or something?
As they go, right? I mean, whichever they go, the race they go, they just make it big, I must say.
So you've started from a newbie, right? What are the lessons learned that you wish you'd known as a complete new triathlete?
Yeah, I think the first one is more around like time management and injury management. And both of them are quite closely related.
Yeah.
And I think you have to like have a good understanding of your injuries as well and your weaknesses, honestly, to progress.
Yeah.
I think the second one is more on like having the right team around you, right?
Yes.
So starting out in the sport, I mean, I could not get easy access to a good team of physios and everything else as well, and nutritionists and all. But over time, now in Singapore, I think all of that is taken care of. So that's very important to have the right team.
Yeah.
And then I think the last one is more around like focusing on your strengths, right? I mean, because your weaknesses over time will get better. But if you keep on pushing more on your strengths, I mean, the results will come only much more faster.
Okay, but you can't forget your weaknesses because they'll always be there, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can keep working on them, but if I have to get to a race and then, I really have to win a race, it's where the strengths come in handy.
Okay, and what is your strength? So what? You are like a very good biker nowadays, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, right now my strength right now is the cycling.
Okay.
But I think overall my strength is I'm a very, thinking kind of a triathlete. Like I always focus on what's happening in the moment during the race and able to crunch numbers fast and, adapt to different strategies in each discipline. I really don't get bogged down by the pressure of the race when I'm in it at all.
Are you, is that what your job is? Do you,
Partly, yeah.
Do you work in numbers and are you
Exactly.
a thinker in your job as well?
Yeah, so my daytime job does involve looking at a lot of operational metrics, numbers, and making decisions on the fly.
Okay.
So that does come naturally to me when I'm on the race.
Yeah. So it's like switching strategies a little bit, because sometimes people have a game plan and they focus on their game plan. But if it's a race situation, right? If someone passes you or something happens, you might not be able to stick to the game plan, because if you stick to that game plan, it's okay if you're a top 50 age grouper and your game plan is to beat 6 hours, right? But if your game plan is to get to top 5 and then someone just passes you and now you're 6th, you can't just think, oh, but I need to beat my time. You need to do something to beat that time, right?
And that's what I say. I mean, I can recall a couple of races I've done last year, right, where sometimes if you have to win it, you have to start putting in the chips earlier, right?
Yes.
I mean, you might get burnt out in the end, but at least you won't have that illusion that, I left something in my pockets.
Yeah.
So if I see someone going and it's go time, I just go if I know that this is the race I have to. And honestly, I think that race for me the past couple of years has been the T100 race. I go on that course and I'm really focused that I have to go and attack.
A lot of people don't understand why pros will pull out of races and they think, well, this guy's a professional, how come he's walking on the marathon, right? But it's probably this thing happening, right? They probably go early because someone is a better swimmer than them. They try to burn those matches early, and then it just, if they win, it's spectacular. If they lose, it all ends like that, right?
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. I mean, I've had situations where I've had to walk or take the second up very easy. But honestly, I at least end up with the satisfaction that I've given everything that was left to.
Yeah, and sometimes you need to do those sort of races to understand where the limit is and what you can and you can't do. Because if you take the easy road the whole time, you're never going to know what you're capable of, right?
And that's why I strategize my races as A and B always. So A1s, I'm pretty sure that I have a proper game plan set. But the B1s, I'm okay to take risks and try different things in terms of pacing or just catch up to the field and see where it is. I mean, I've done few sprint duathlons and triathlons here as well in Singapore, and I was surprised I was still top 10 even with all the national age group athletes.
And those guys are more explosive.
They're running 330s, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's unnatural for me, but I just wanted to understand what this is about and see. So it does pay off sometimes, not all the time.
So I understand that you've just come back from injury, right? Tell us a bit about what happened and the process of recovering from that.
So yeah, it's an unfortunate timing for sure. I was just gearing up for a big first half of the year with, clear intentions of getting to a full and then getting to Kona. Had an unfortunate tear in my hip muscle. It's called a labral tear. So initially it was a mild one, but it went undiagnosed and it became a moderate tear.
So was there something that happened? Did you fall over? Did you run too hard one day?
Yeah, so I did have a minor cycling crash, but this symptom came around a month after that. So it could have been an imbalance in the hip, but we also attributed to probably running volume as well.
Yeah.
And subsequently travel as well. But yeah, that left me not able to walk for a couple of weeks.
Oof. Hobbling around, or you literally
Pure hobbling.
Okay.
But
And that's super frustrating as an athlete, right? Because you want to be out there running you're doing 9 sessions a week and you can't walk.
Even cycle, it's not bad. But then with good care and proper guidance, I was able to get back on the cycle. So then I changed my plans for the first half of the season. I'll become as good of a swimmer and biker as I can.
Yeah.
And my intention was clear that of all races I go now, till the time I start running, I want to be front pack after the bike at least.
Yeah.
Now I've got some mini goals which I've hit, so now I'll get back to running. At least I'm satisfied. But I'll get back there.
So it's been quite a while, and now is it behind you, or are you
So now it's behind. Just as of last week, I've started doing 30-minute runs.
Yep.
So things are looking good.
Yep.
So I'm hoping to
30 minutes.
come back by August for sure.
Okay. So now So this is the end of May. This podcast is probably going to come out sometime in June. But so that's two more months, June, July, August.
Yeah, by August I'm expecting I should be back in race shape.
Is that where your next race is going to be?
I have one slotted over there, but I'm not sure if I do it. But yeah, sites are set that I'll be race ready by August.
Okay, so because I saw you at the T100, right? You were there, right?
Yeah,
and I saw you the year before that. I had no idea this year that you were actually injured. I guess I would have seen you at the start line because I was start manager, but I didn't see you at the finish. So you said that you basically did the swim hard, bike hard, and then you just sort of hobbled through the struggle.
It was just like a walk and an easy jog, but yeah, I mean, I hit my goals on the swim and bike, so I'm quite happy with that.
Okay, you hit them. Okay, so let's just run through a typical race, right? 70.3 is basically your race of your favorite sort of discipline.
Yes.
I'm not only going to start doing Ironmans as well, but 70.3. So 1.9 swim, 90 kilometer bike, and half marathon, right? So let's just go through one at a time. So swimming, what do you normally try to do? It's normally a mass start. So are you going for the first 500 meters really hard? Like, what are you thinking when you start the swim?
Yeah, so I'm like a big guy, honestly, right? So I have to be very careful about my heart rate as I start and intensity as a half. So I generally try to start a bit easy and conservative in the first 500 meters.
But doesn't that mean that you're going to be fighting your way through people for the next?
I won't let anyone pass me, but I'm not going to be like a pedestrian pace, but just glide around, figure out what's happening in the water. But then after 500 meters, I really pick up the pace. And then towards the end of the swim, I really try to go hard and out. But my strategy mostly on the swim is I always try to draft as much as I can. I honestly don't try to swim alone ever.
Okay.
And if I come across a pack which is pulling faster, I'm honestly not scared to burn the matches. So till last year, I used to come out say 12th or 13th in my age group.
Yep.
But now with this hip injury, I think I put in so much swim mileage that now I'm again top 5 in the swim.
Nice.
So now it's a different strategy.
Yeah.
So now I'm more thinking, okay, who are the guys who are good?
Yeah.
And I just try to stick it with them all throughout.
So if I'm in a swim with you and I'm a good swimmer, for example, and you know that I'm a little bit better or about the same as you, at the start area, would you come and find me and just sort of hang out, right?
Yeah.
Is that what you do?
I do.
Okay.
I was very recently in Cebu and I have some friends here from Singapore who are good swimmers.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's an unsaid correlation kinds that we do try to stick around together in the swim stuff.
Okay, so you're just scoping everyone out. Hey, that guy's a good swimmer. Oh, you just kind of...
I do that.
Okay, okay. Yeah. I just thought of that as a strategy on the fly. And then so your tactics would just be to sort of take it easy, push, negative split almost through the swim. So as a newbie who's never done a triathlon before, it can be a bit of a washing machine sometimes at the beginning of mass start events. What sort of advice do you give to the newbie triathletes?
I think pacing yourself is important, but more important is seeding yourself in the right wave is important, because many times at Ironman events I've seen overexcited first timers just getting into the wrong wave, and that causes a confusion because people might swim over you, or then you get too far behind. So getting into the right wave is one. Then the second one is sight around the boys. Many times folks do just a sight to a boy, they just swim there and then they get stuck in the ropes. So I would say sight around the boys.
So go like a racing line, you go a little bit wide and you
just
come
go
into
a bit wide, because 90% of the folks will always stick to the racing line. And honestly, as a fast guy, I always try to stick to the racing line because I want to take the shorter route. Yeah. And as a newbie, you want to have some space for yourself, right? And I think treading the water is an important skill the newbie needs to learn. Yeah. Because you might get tired, your goggles might get knocked off, so you have to be comfortable treading water for at least 10-15 seconds to gain your composure.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And then I think also it's not, as a newbie, it's not an embarrassment to breaststroke, especially if you're trying to see where everything is and you need to go and look where the boys are and where the next turn is. A lot of people think, oh, it's so embarrassing to have a breaststroke, or I had breaststroke this. I think that's completely fine.
That's completely fine. I mean, I still do that as well. If I'm getting to a turn and I need to see where the space is, I do breaststroke, take a few seconds and then get back again.
Yeah. Okay. And then bike, you're a pretty strong biker. So 70.3, I think 70.3 is where you start need to use a triathlon specific bike, right?
Yeah.
Olympic distance, sprint distance, you can probably get away with a road bike, clip-on bars, but 70.3 is a real 90 kilometers. You can't hide from the wind, right? What is your game plan coming into the bike? So you come out of the water, you see about top 10, right?
Yeah.
Then do you look around to see wherever this is? You're trying to find a pack? Are you trying to?
So on the bike, like previously, I used to so back in the day, I used to be a bit conservative, but now I'm quite comfortable with my skills, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I just go from the moment.
Yeah.
And I try to just hold on to the power I'm capable of.
So you are either doing like 90% FTP or 80% FTP?
I try to push 85.
Yeah.
And if I get to 90, that's good. But at least 85%, I always try to push.
Yeah.
Right? And my strategy is quite simple. I try to balance nutrition and speed.
Yeah.
And I know that I do well on rolling courses than flat courses.
Okay.
And I don't know how, but I'm quite a good climber somehow on a TT bike.
Okay.
So I somehow do well on rolling courses, and then that's been a consistent theme as well. So I do try to go into courses which suit my advantage, and then I think the last part of all of this is getting in nutrition.
Yeah, I was about to say nutrition. So a lot of newbie triathletes, they don't realize that if you don't eat on the bike, it's too late to eat on the run.
It's too late to eat on the run. I mean, the bike is the place where you basically feed yourself, but you have to be smart about it, not to get cramps. And then I think the last part of the bike, you really need to ease up a bit.
Oh, so the last, let's say 5-10K.
Yeah, 10K, I think last 10K you need to ease up your legs a bit so you get into the proper.
Oh, that's a good point. So when you're riding the bike, are you sitting in zone 4 or what are you doing?
Yeah, I'm mostly in a 70.3, I'm sitting in zone 4, but I really don't hold back. If I see someone in my age of going ahead, I'll just take the lead and start attacking. So. But that's up to individual preference, honestly.
Of course.
But if you have the confidence, then you should really go hard on the bike. Because that's one place where even if you go a little hard, you can, go a little easy on the run and do it and get a good benefit. But if you go hard on the run, there's no coming back once you go hard on the run.
You might go hard the run and then finish with a lot of energy, right? And then you could have gone hard. You could have gone harder on the bike, right?
Because the benefits of going harder on the bike is way more than going harder in the swim or the run. Because first of all, the distance.
Swim, yes. Swim, you'll never catch you.
And then the negative impact of fatigue going hard on a bike is quite less compared to the swim and the run.
Okay. So then, hydration. Do you take bottles from every 8 session, or what? Do you have a reservoir on the bike?
So I carry my nutrition with me on the bike always, packed it up in bottles or whatever. But I try to take fresh water and cold water specifically from the aid stations because that's just additional weight on the bike, honestly, carrying 4 bottles.
Yeah.
So I just try to pick up water from the aid stations, and especially if you're racing in Asia, and I think you have to really understand the amount of sodium and electrolytes your body needs, and that's a very important equation on the cycling because it's 2.5 hours of the winds and the sun and all, you're bound to get a lot of sodium loss.
Yeah.
So that's a very important aspect that people don't consider when they're racing in Asia.
Okay. And then again, tips for newbies, right? Their first triathlon. What do you tell people what to do and what not to do on the bike?
So what not to do definitely is not to try racing it hard, because there are always enthusiastic athletes who will go hard on the bike or have probably practiced it. So I would say don't try to catch up to someone. Stick to what your coach has advised in terms of power or pace.
And not attacking you or something.
Yeah, attacking for newbies is not recommended. And more importantly, take care of the nutrition, because on the bike, if you don't take care and eat and drink, your run is never going to come back again.
Yeah, I think a lot of times people on the bike, especially the first triathlon, they're cruising along, and let's just say they're going at 35, and this is awesome, I can do this, and then they push too hard, and then they get off the bike and start running, and then they realize that they've burnt all their matches, and they've got nothing left in the tank, right?
Exactly. Yeah. That's a thing that all newbies have to keep in mind for sure. But more important than that, I think everyone needs to understand and have a proper strategy, because it's going to be 3 hours for the bulk of the people. So what you eat, drink, consume, as well as how you pedal forward, how you take nutrition, all of that.
I think brick sessions as well, like leading up to the race, understanding how the body is going to handle it, right?
Exactly.
Getting off the bike, fatigue, and then trying to run. Because if you go into a race and it's the first time you've ever experienced that, it's gonna be terrible result for you.
It's not a good advice for anyone, honestly. Brick session, of course, you have to do that before.
Yeah, for sure. I say they've moved to the run, 21 kilometers, right? You're coming off the bike. Let's just say you're still in the top 10. What are you thinking of when you start the run?
So I think in the Asian weather conditions specifically, right, I think the run is more of a conserve game, at least for the first half of the half marathon. I think you really need to like hold on. And because the heat always picks up, you need to get your nutrition and just hold a normal pace and then get an understanding of where the field is. And then I think the last 10 kilometers is honestly where anyone should push if they're looking for spots. You cannot gain anything by going too hard in the beginning. But yeah, you will definitely lose a lot if you start walking in the
I think running is the way you can lose the most time the fastest.
Exactly. Yeah. And I've had that experience. I mean, early on in 2019, 20, I could not understand what I was doing wrong. And then finally I figured out this is what I was doing wrong. I was going too hard on the run. I used to fade off and lose spots, and I changed it. And then I've always been able to like climb spots on the run towards the end.
So are you the sort of person, like if you know that I'm running and I've got a pink hat, and then we're running, and then you see me on the course ahead of you, my trademark pink hat, for example, right? Are you going to actively chase me down, or are you the sort of person that like there's a rabbit and you chase them, or are you just going to stick to your game plan? And what are you sort of?
I mean, it depends on the race and what's at stake. Yeah. So because I've done that in a few races, like last year in T100, that was a clear target that I had to win, so I did do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, in races where I know that, I mean, this pace is not sustainable for me, or there is like an injury that's plaguing me, I'll probably not do that.
Okay, you want the temptation.
And then if I know it's someone like extremely fast, and I would not even like try that, but rather concentrate my own position first and go.
Something in the race. Yeah, they went too hard at the beginning, right? Maybe.
Just hope that happens. And it's a gamble always.
And cooling and hydration on the run.
Oh, that's extremely important, right? I mean, here specifically in Asia, I think like going through the aid stations, picking up ice and water is crucial. I think far too many newbies underestimate the importance of that specific activity, assuming that it bathes fine. But honestly, just walking the aid station, getting in ice and water helps a lot towards the end.
Yeah, I think walking aid stations is very underrated. People don't understand that it actually can help you regulate your heart rate for one, and then you get the nutrition and water that you need. And maybe the 15 seconds slower than it is.
Yeah, you also have like reduce the cramps as well as get the GI also settled down. Just 15 seconds is enough for gel to settle down in your gut as well.
True.
But yeah, I mean, I personally like walk most of the stations unless I'm in the last 5 or 6 kilometers, and that's what I advise to most people is walk in, take your ice, water,
get what you need, and then don't stress it too much. Tips for running off the bike? Do you practice? Is that
I think practice is essential. I would not say that every session has to be a break, but at least a couple of sessions before the race, at least 3 to 4 weeks before the race, 2 sessions a week is good.
Yeah.
With some sessions built at the target race intensity. I think that's very important because people generally just get off the bike and just do an easy run.
Yeah.
On race day, if you get off the bike and expect that to run a fast half marathon, that's not going to happen.
So running off the bike in training, would you do at least 5K?
Oh yeah, I mean definitely 5K is like a bare minimum endurance run that you could put off, but like longer race-based sessions, if for a 70.3 can go up as much as 10 to 15 kilometers as well. But it has to be structured, right? If you just do one steady session at zone 2 pace off the bike, there's nothing you gain out of it. It has to be a structured session with sets of 2 kilometers, 3 kilometers and hitting threshold ultimately.
Okay. Yeah, my next one is how not to blow up. Like when you're running, do you just know what your targets are and where you shouldn't be? Make sure you stay out of those zones.
I mean that's like I think that's the base principle. I think, and being a student of the sport, I think everyone should understand where the heart rate limits are. I think that's the first one. Right?
That's what I don't understand.
I mean that's like something that newbies should understand, like where the ceiling is, right? I mean, blow-ups generally happen for simple reason that someone might not have taken in a nutrition.
Yeah,
right? That's one thing. The second thing also is that possibly there can be side effects from extreme heat and all, right? So people have to understand all of that and take precautions during the race for sure.
Okay.
But yeah, practice is essential. Again, I'm not saying you can just take nutrition. You have to practice and be good at this.
Yeah, man. Okay. And then again, tips for newbies. What do you tell people for their first triathlon, for the run in particular?
Well, so for the run, I think getting the right set of equipment is essential in terms of running shoes, right? Far too many times I see people just wearing carbon shoes as their first triathlon, and that really does not help, right? I mean, get the right set of equipment.
Yeah.
The second part is...
So running, let's just go to running shoes, right? There's different types. There's cushioning, there's stability, there's carbon plates. you should find a running shop that will teach you get the correct set of shoes, right?
Exactly.
You don't just go for the pink shoes because you like pink, right? You get the green shoes even if they're the right shoes for your feet, right?
Exactly. So yeah, that part is essential. And then like
How about heart rate monitor and a Garmin watch? Do you think that's
that is definitely a good indication of understanding your body metrics.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, and if you're used to wearing that in training, then you should use it on the race day for sure. Give a good indication. And I think more importantly is carrying your own nutrition on the run. I mean, people should not make the mistake of relying on what's on offer on races, especially in a 70.3. I mean, those gels, that electrolytes might not suit you.
Yeah, because it's got to be whatever the sponsor supplies, right? If you get a good sponsor, yay. But if it's like something that you hate, it's not going to work.
And then, of course, I mean, and the last one is like, I mean, you should enjoy the run for sure.
Yeah.
But then also have realistic goals that you can attain and be happy at the end of the race.
Do you scout the courses that you know the runner's going to be shaded or not shaded, and like, well, Desiree is a notoriously hot course, and I think Davao in.
Yeah. So for me personally, hot courses suit me.
Okay,
So I
so
I
you
try
target
to find-
you do the
I try to
reverse.
find the hottest courses for sure for myself because that suits me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if runners have a preference and know what their body type is, they should pick courses based on what's shaded or not. I mean, you can talk to like triathletes. There's a healthy triathlete community in Singapore.
Yeah.
Most of them have done most courses and been able to share guidelines as to what will suit a first time.
I always see on WhatsApp groups like, oh, have you done this course before? Is it hilly? Is it shaded? And then like, so you can mentally prepare for it. So anything that you do particularly to prepare for races, let's just say 2 weeks out before an A race.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Are you changing your nutrition? Are you watching what you eat? Or are you tapering down? What are you doing before races?
Yeah, typically I think my race preparation, but from a training perspective, it's dials up from 6 weeks before. But 3 weeks before, I start watching what I'm eating specifically, not to gain any additional weight. Right? And if I'm above my race weight, because I know what's the amount of weight I need on the bike, I try to drop a few kgs here and there in a healthy way. Right? I try to also reduce my caffeine intake on purpose before the race. And the only reason for that is that I intend to use much more caffeine during race day.
So it will have more effect of you. So if you taper down the caffeine when you get to race day, it's going to have bigger effect on you.
It's got a better effect for sure, and I've noticed that over the course. I mean, it's worked for me.
Yeah.
Right? And I think another thing is also like getting the HRV or like, getting in good sleep basically, so that your body stress levels are lower. I think that's more important, right? At least 2 weeks before the race. And then I think the final week of the race is more about just getting into the mindset of the race and getting to the start line.
Yeah.
The travel.
And making sure that you don't trip on anything, and make sure that everything goes.
Don't change anything on your cycle for sure.
Yeah.
That's the most
And nothing new, right? You don't bring out your brand new shoes and run the race with them.
Yeah, nothing new in terms of equipment, just stick to what you have used. And get to race day, and then I think, everyone has their pre-race rituals. I mean, mine, of course, involves sticking to a few of my favorite pre-race shirts and also a specific meal that I have before, the night before a race.
Okay, so you have a ritual, and then you know the equipment that works for you, because equipment is like some races, some shirts get heavy when you're running, and some shirts are light, and you got a sort of race equipment.
Race kit.
Yeah, race kit. And you wear a tri-suit when you race?
Yeah, I wear a proper zipped up tri-suit thanks to purpose. Got a full kit and a wardrobe ready with tri-suits.
Did you get a custom purpose kit?
Yeah, all my tri-suits are custom.
Yeah, I got custom jerseys as well.
Yeah, custom jerseys and tri-suits.
Okay. So what next? What's your what's the rest of the year entail for you?
Yeah, so it's been like a whirlwind first half of the year. But yeah, I mean, like all the races, I've done 3 races till now. I'm very happy with my swim and bike.
Yeah.
Consistently always come out top 3 or 4 at the end of the bike. So now I just want to get my run back online, and the targets are clear. Get to like Langkawi and Goa and dish out a few good fast races.
Yes.
And then start the build back for Kona from next year again. That's the target.
Oh, okay. So Langkawi at the end of the year, are you doing the full?
So Langkawi at the end of the year, I will try to do the full, but the qualification is for knees. So I'll just do it to understand the
So you're one of those. I think the tri community is very divided about that. Like the Kona is going to be very hard because everyone wants to go to Kona. But the Nice, the race last year, Nice was quite good.
Yeah, it was good, but it has been a dream since I started out. So I wanted to probably end over there as well. So it's logical that I do Langkawi, understand the course this year, and then come back next year and get my slot from there. That's my target.
So do Langkawi again next year as well.
Yeah, because next year they'll have a Kona qualification.
Yeah.
So this year I want to do it more to understand the course and then come back next year.
Because Kona is this year, right?
Yeah, Kona is this
And
year.
then next year's qualifications will all be for
Nice.
Nice until the second half of the year. Okay. Okay, man. How do people get a hold of you? It's on Instagram. It's AJ_Kandi_Tri Racing.
That's correct.
Right? And just send you a DM or something.
Yeah, perfect.
You're pretty active on
I'm
Instagram.
happy to share any tips for newbies or, just happy to have you over with my group for a TT bike ride.
Yeah, let's
Because I
go.
know there are like less groups for TT bikes, but my group is always open to host anyone.
What group do you ride with?
I've got my own group that we have made up.
Okay.
It's all triathletes.
Yep,
So
yep.
It's unique.
And is it like kind of Coastal or what do you?
Everything all across,
Okay.
around the island, everything. But it's only TT bikes.
So it's like a triathlon race, but you're not 13 meters apart.
Yeah, you can just say it's a fun triathlon gang that I have built up over the years, honestly.
Yeah. Okay, man. Thank you so much for coming in. And I'm sure I'll have some more questions, but I'll keep in touch. Okay.
Thank you, Martin.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, thank you.